don't give a fuck whether you land or not. Just let him go. Young women, you're going to be a shitty fight, but you got to let punches go. You can't wait until they get in. You miss it, fight and go right back. And don't take 30 seconds if you start another fight.
Alexander, I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody like me. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dippy. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impeccable. My defense is impregnable.
Look at that. Look at that combination.
I kept telling him he had no punch, he couldn't hit, he's swinging like a sissy, he's missing, let me see your buff. I hadn't started dancing yet. A tremendous motivational first round, and Hearns gets hurt. Hearns got stunned. Acko was stunned early in the round. Great first round. Incredible. Perhaps one of the best in middleweight history.
All right, there we go.
That black guy, he hits.
Five.
Bang, 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 bang.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Hands of Fire Boxing Talk. I'm your host, writer and reporter for RealCombatMedia.com, G.Alé, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Ibn Daoud and Julius Fox. And before I get into the introduction, since I already did introduce you guys, but I just want to apologize for the last podcast. It was a rather lengthy podcast, and it was a little bit late in the night of editing in it, and I kind of just shot that shit out there. But there was a few technical problems on that podcast on the playback, so just a little apology for that. But yeah, we'll definitely have the detailed work on this one. So yeah, so that's that. Anyway, today is a pretty jam-packed episode. We got post-fight reactions and fight previews. You got a Saturday night featuring Deontay Wilder against Washington. Dominic Brezeale, who scored a very impressive victory over Ugonoh or Ongu. Fuck his last name.
He let me down, man. He let me down. He let me down.
Yeah, you definitely seem heartbroken about that. And also Jared Hurd against Tony Harrison, who scored a ninth round knockout in a fight that he was behind in. So I think what I want to do is we'll start off with that fight, and then just go into the heavyweights. That way we can kind of just have a nice little segue in between those two, because I think that's just gonna naturally happen. But first, Ibn, you were a little tied up, so you weren't able to watch this fight, but for good reason. The young prodigy had his debut that Saturday night. You may just let us know how he did, how you felt about his performance, and how's he feeling about it?
He did very good, man. He by nature he's a boxer, but this kid came with like a lot of pressure, and like his back was against the wall, and he had to fight. And in the first round, the kid rushed him, and Salim would like turn, get slight angles, and walk him back. Get a slight angle, walk him back, hit him with a combination. He hit Salim back. Salim would just like make sure that he was going forward and swinging. Won that round. Came up second. Kid rushed him again. He threw the tester jab, right hand to the body, left hook up top, go right down. Boom, hit the ground. Whole crowd go crazy. Everybody get back up. They come back in. He in that round. He win that round. He wins the rest of the round too. Then the third round, it was a tough back and forth. But like I saw my son like bite down and decide that he wasn't going to be denied. Man, I was very, very proud of him. He won a belt because he was giving out belts at that particular show. So I was real proud of him, man. He did real good.
Yeah, it's definitely good to hear, man, because I've seen this guy work every day with you, man. And
oh yeah, man. He worked hard, man. He ran, man. He push-ups, pull-ups. He worked hard. He worked hard, man. He really did earn it.
Yeah,
he got that the hard way.
Nice congratulations to young Salim, the boxing prodigy. We'll keep our eyes on him in the group for sure.
Oh yeah.
But Jared Hurd, so you can tune out a little bit, I guess, on this review.
Yeah, I gotta tune in on that fight. I'm not gonna front like I saw.
Yeah, it's all good. Listen, I had a little date Saturday night, so I ain't catch none of this shit live. So I'm really just I'm catching up. I caught up on everything. I caught the Wilder fight that night, and then literally watched the Brezeale and the Jared Hurd fight today. So but yeah, so with Jared Hurd against Tony Harrison out of Detroit, out of this fight, I'll tell you what. I've seen Jared Hurd several times. I've seen him several times, and for some reason, he just reminds me of, like, there's nothing he does really particularly well. He just has the power, and but coming up, that's such a it can throw you off a little bit because like Andre Berto. I remember watching him come up on all those fights on ESPN, Friday night fights, Wednesday night fights, whatever. He's just knocking guys out. And he looked at it like he had a decent technique and all this, but then when he came up to someone his level, shit got real, and maybe you weren't so impressed, or maybe you felt a bit betrayed in a way. And I get the same feeling with Jared. He was being outboxed by Tony Harrison, who was boxing rather well. I was listening to some other podcasts and other people who did a review of the fight and made it seem like Harrison had gassed out or something, and that totally wasn't the case, at least from what I saw. He was in the fight. I mean, he got hurt, I guess, toward the end of the 5th round. Hurd, kind of was able to step things up a bit toward that second, to the 6th. But the problem, it seemed like, was for Hurd was the fact that, first of all, he was looking for one shot every time. And Harrison, while he had some good boxing ability and sporadic combinations, it simply was that. It was just sporadic. And there was just too many times where he would just, I guess, have the movement settle the fight for him. And I feel like, and of course, boxing a bigger man, they're always going to tell you to just keep moving, never stay too long. But the moments when he was stationary is just there wasn't much action. And in a way, it was almost like how the Brezeale fight went. Is the pressure basically was succumbed to. It was just undeniable at one point, because that's the one thing that was holding Hurd back, was the fact that he was looking for one shot, and it would become stationary. He would still throw just one shot. And he actually didn't start having success until he actually started landing a combination. He landed that uppercut toward the end of the 5th round, and all of a sudden, Harrison was hurt. Then it goes on to the 6th. He got hurt several other times. And I think if anyone's, it's for people who just have no boxing experience and just more of a spectator toward the games, that you have to understand that getting hurt throughout the fight, and as multiple times it seemed like it was in this fight, that's also part of conditioning. So if it was perceived that maybe he was gassed a bit, that you got to take that in consideration. Like, you guys, like that was made the Andre Ward fight with Sergey Kovalev so commendable, because you don't understand like the stamina, like just digging deep again like that is what will. It takes a lot out of you. And, and in this instance, it seemed like he got hurt several times. He tried to hold, but eventually, the tide was just coming, and he started to slow down. Hurd started continued to land in combinations. Not all of them would land, but just the one would take, that right uppercut was almost his money shot, and eventually had, he landed a nice little right hand, like just over the top, that just laid out Harrison. And that seemed to be the fight right then and there. There was a bit of confusion toward the end of the fight. He got up at 8, but had a rather lengthy conversation with the ref and spit his mouthpiece out. So that was the fight. So I guess, Julius, I'll throw it to you. So what did you think overall of Hurd's performance going on?
I mean, it was Hurd was never a guy that I was impressed with to begin with. I looked at this fight passed for me rather ignominiously, given the fact that, well, you're fighting for Jamal's belt at the end of the day, because we know Jamal moved up to 160. And I look at either of these two guys, and I'm like, because I reviewed a couple of fights from them before that, just to get acquainted with them guys. And, I'd edge Jamal to beat either of these guys. So it's like, well, I'm not psyched over the winner. The biggest thing about this fight for me was that it diversifies 154 now. Now we can get the kind of unification fights that we couldn't get before, because we know Jamal wasn't going to fight his brother, and neither one of them was going to fight Lara. So now it opens the door for somebody to snatch up 2 belts, because we got 4 belts, 4 guys. What the fuck is going on? That's honestly the only relevant thing about this fight to me. Good win. It was kind of awkward when he got that knockdown, because you really couldn't tell if he spat out the mouthpiece or was it involuntary? But either way, ignominious fight for me. I wasn't invested in that at all.
See, and you said, I think it really isn't. Like you said, if you wasn't sure if it was intentional of the spitting of the mouthpiece, that looked rather deliberate to me. I don't know what was the reason for that.
It did, but it could have been interpreted. It could have been interpreted as, because it was awkward when the mouthpiece came out. Like, it's like motherfuckers didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
It looked like he spat the shit out. It looked that way, but there was confusion afterwards.
Yeah.
It was like, did he do that on purpose? Can he go, or is he saying that he doesn't want to go?
Yeah.
You really couldn't tell in that moment.
See, well, that being said, then you said a good victory for Hurd, but was it really? He lost about 6 rounds in this fight.
I mean, when you look at it in that scope, it kind of reminds you of Jermel's fight with Julian Jackson's kid. That you just kind of pulled that out of your ass. I don't think that much of you as a fighter for having won this fight, even though you won this fight. This is not exactly your best, I would say. I would hope that it wasn't. And that's my feelings towards this fight. That, okay, you won the fight, but you're not a guy that I would bet on to beat the elites of 154. You're not beating Lara. You're not beating Canelo. Not that he could get a Canelo fight, obviously, but if we're talking about unifications and shit, well, I wouldn't bet on him to beat any of those guys. So,
and that's the funniest thing about it. I mean, I guess it might be, irony in the way that this was set up, seeing that they were fighting for Jermell Charlo's vacated belt. And in a way, Jarrett Hurd, for me, is like a generic version of Jermell Charlo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think it's kind of funny
Jamal,
that way.
I got to give it to Jamal, even though I was never big on Jamal, but I got to give it to him that, well, from Trout to J-Rock, I wanted J-Rock to win that fight, and he didn't win that fight. So in that way, I got to respect Jamal. Jamal's a great fighter. Hurd, he wouldn't have won that belt from him. I know that shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that shit.
All right, so let's go on to the fight that opened up the night, which was Dominic Brezeale against Ugonoh, and rather, man, it was a pretty awesome fight. Did all three of you guys? Did both of you guys watch that fight?
Yes, sir. I seen the highlights of it. I seen Wilder. That was it.
Yeah. Well, listen. Fast start by Izu. Came right out and pretty much just flexed all. Like pretty much, it seems like he just flexed every bit of all the attributes he had that was pretty much he had over Dominic Brezeale, and maybe a bit overzealous, and And again, I made a reference to it with the past fight about succumbing to the pressure. That really seemed to be the case with Dominic Brezeale, because he walked through some shit before he actually. He wasn't
trying to lose that fight. He
walked through. He didn't land anything meaningful until about the second round. at the very least.
It reminds me of Michael Moore versus George Foreman, where Teddy Atlas is telling Michael, like, yo, you good, like, you don't gotta keep standing in front of him like that, but he keep going for it anyway. And we know that Izu had just got signed to Al Heyman. Al Heyman had just signed him, so I figured, well, he's trying to show up and show out, you know, because he's trying to put on a great performance. He just got signed to Al, but he's a little bit too eager in the same way that we seen Julian Williams was too eager with Jamal. Like, yo, chill out. Just space that shit out. You know what I mean? You doing too much right now. Like, he's a bigger man, and you standing right in front of him. You know what I mean? You trading bombs and shit like that. You don't need to do that. You faster than him. You got better legs than him. You're more athletic than him. And you don't got to do that.
It's funny because they were commending him for, you know, shots to the body, which were really good. But, you know, he started getting into a phase where he was trying to land combos to the body, which in the heavyweight division, I mean, first of all, I mean, that's just one of the rules. I mean, at least I wouldn't say a rule, but an unspoken one. That, I mean, yeah, you could land a nice little one, like a little hook to the body. But, you know, to try to do combinations to the body is almost just asking for anything.
Well, he was overzealous with his speed. He was landing, you know, 2, 3, and 4 punches to the body, and Brezeale was slow. Like, I talked about that going into the fight, that, you know, Brezeale, he's got plenty of speed over Brezeale, so he can get in and out of there, and he can tag him and get out of there, but that's not the fight that he chose to fight. He stayed in front of him. He wanted to trade. He wanted to be all in his shit. Like, yo, you don't even got to do that.
And
like,
I mean, and he hurt him. And he hurt him. And he hurt him.
Yeah.
He actually, well, the first one where, you know, Brezeale, you know, kind of tackled him, that in a way was a saving moment where I think he was hurt, but there were several shots that came after that didn't necessarily land. And he just hugged up on the dude and straight up tackled him, which I think saved him in a way. But definitely,
Rocky IV moment.
Yeah, but it definitely got him in the next round. But again, man, it was almost like the moment he opened up, it was, you know, it was hunting season. And
it was just you could blame Kevin Barry for that. Honestly, they should have told Easy to calm the fuck down, like chill, like you're doing too much, chill, like just relax, take a round off if anything, and just chill. He wanted to go for it, and that's what happened. Yeah. Same shit that happened to fucking Julian. Same shit happened to fucking Easy. Should have chilled the fuck out. Yeah, I thought he was a shoo-in, honestly, because looking at Brezeale, it's like, well, you watching Brezeale versus Amir Mansour, you watch Brezeale versus Anthony Joshua, it's like, well, yeah, it's a wrap. Like, who knew, man? Who knew?
That's what I was really just about to ask you guys. I mean, like, so what is Dominic Brezeale at this point in the heavyweight division?
Dominic Brezeale is a highlight reel character, man. I mean, who do you see him beating? That's my answer to that question. Who do you see him? Do you think? All right, Parker versus Brezeale could be a more even fight. Could be. Dominic Brezeale's not beating Deontay Wilder.
Well, I mean, he's obvious. I would say, would you put? Is he more of a respectable opponent over Huey Fury?
I wouldn't say that. Huey Fury actually has a couple of. He's got a good set of legs. He's got good snap in his punches, a good jab. He can move around the ring. You know, he's actually got a little bit of athleticism. He not for nothing. He kind of reminds me of a more polished Tyson Fury. I mean, he moves very well. If you watch that, what's that guy's name? Kasi? Yeah, Fred Kasi.
Yeah.
He looked good in that Kasi fight. So I wouldn't put him up there with Huey Fury. We haven't seen. We still got to find shit out about Huey Fury. Dominic Brezeale to me is an hard twist builder. That's where I put him. He's a good fighter. You can't say he's not a good fighter after a win like that. But I don't see you getting a world. I still don't see that shit happening.
You know what?
What
I think he is.
He's professional inexperience. His professional inexperience and his lack of composure in that situation. That's what gave Brezeale the opportunity to get back in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he's green. You know, you didn't have to do that.
You know who Brezeale reminds me of was a younger Chris Arreola. Where a moment where he was actually, you know, it was like some type of dignity in the name of Chris Arreola in the heavyweight division, where you knew he wasn't necessarily the favorite, but you knew you were going to get a tough fight with the guy, and he was going to have some heart to hang in there. That's and of course he got the titty jiggle to match, which is just kind of just goes perfectly. Ibn, what about you, man? What are you thinking? Where does Dominic Brezeale stand with you as far as a heavyweight division? Is he like a Luis Collazo of the heavyweight division?
Yeah, he on the fringe. Yeah, he on some colossal stuff.
That was a nice little reference.
Jerry Collazo. He like on the fringe. He might beat you. You know what I mean? He one of them fighters. He might beat you. You better be careful.
And that's what I think is so. That's why I can't be so dismissive of this guy. Again, like.
Well, I mean, look, you got to look at what went into the fight. You got to look at how Izu lost that fight before you give it to Brezeale. That Izu let him back in that fight. He let him do that.
But here's the only reason I have to give up some type of props or more props to Brezeale winning it than Izu losing it is the fact that he had 2 opportunities to get Brezeale out of there. 2. And always and at least up to 3 or 4 rounds was the more skillful, active, and overall just better fighter over those 3 rounds.
Yeah, but what did we find out about Dominic Brezeale in this fight? We didn't find out nothing that we didn't know. Brezeale showed that he was more or less a tough guy in the Joshua fight. He took that beating. You know, it took longer than I thought it would because I thought he was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that's more of like an after effect, really. Because we realized, for a little bit there was some criticism that Anthony Joshua gassed a little bit after 5 rounds. So maybe the thing with Joshua is take him to deep waters and he's not as effective. Rather than the fact that maybe just Brezeale is just a really sturdy heavyweight.
And he is sturdy, but you could have known that shit about Joshua by looking at the fucking size of his biceps. A guy walking around with that much muscle, he's gonna gas later in the fight. Muscles eat up a lot of oxygen. It's like a common sense argument. You could put that one together without watching a fucking Brezeale fight. But what does this fight say about Dominic Brezeale? Is he all of a sudden a skillful guy you got to watch out for in the heavyweight division?
I wouldn't say skillful.
Really.
I wouldn't say skillful, but I say like that's one of those. It's almost like a zombie movie where a shot to the fucking leg and stomach ain't just gonna do it. Like you got to blow this motherfucker to smithereens to get him out of there. And maybe that's what it might show.
More or less. We know Anthony Joshua. He's it's the heavyweight division, so all these motherfuckers hit hard. But
yeah, I mean, and that's the truth anyway.
Concussive power, and it took him a little bit to get him out of there. So we could say, yeah, Brezeale's tough. Brezeale could take a beating. He's got heart because he picked himself up off the camp. He wasn't gonna lose that fight. There was a lot of moments in this fight where he getting hit right on the button, and he was still coming forward.
He took
that was early in the fight.
And he took a nice little temple shot that I almost for certain thought he was gonna at least feel like a delayed effect to him, and he just weathered it.
He kept coming forward. He wasn't trying to lose this fight. He wasn't going to let him, props to him for that. It's just that, well, all right, you looking at the guys that's out there. It's guys out there that I don't know that he could beat. I don't know that he could beat Artur Spilka, for example.
Well, that's the fight that was supposed to happen, but, it didn't. That fight actually was supposed to happen.
It turns out that Artur wanted more time. That's the story anyway. Artur wanted more time, and Brezeale wanted to get back in the ring in a hurry. At least that's according to Brezeale and the shit that I've seen on boxing scene.
Well, and also...
So it is what it is.
And
but
also...
If it were Artur Spilka, how confident are you that Brezeale would have won that fight?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. Like, that's why I really was so, really looking forward to that fight going down. Because, in a way, we're actually still waiting to see how good Spilka is.
Yeah.
And considering all the trouble he gave Wilder, who we're going to segue into in a little bit.
And that's important because Spilka showed, at least in the Wilder fight, that he can be elusive. Elusive in the ways that Ugonoh was not in that fight. Izu wasn't trying to be elusive. He was going for it. Also, as Spilker showed, he can move around. He can slip some shots and get in some shots of his own.
Yeah, he is a bit of a slickster.
Dominic Brezeale have been able to rally back against a guy who, when he don't want to be hit, he don't get hit.
But also a big size difference in an opponent as well. So I mean that's also, or at least as far as in Brazil's favor. So I mean there's still that. So that's why it's such an intriguing matchup. But also according to Brezeale, there was a little scuffle toward, I guess, the end of the night between him and Wilder's camp, which seemed to be for some, a way of possibly Brezeale trying to set up a matchup with Deontay Wilder. I'm hoping that's not the fucking case because. But in a way,
Brezeale don't deserve a title shot more than a lot of guys.
But you know what? Let's just jump right into it because what I was gonna say was after Saturday's performance, I wouldn't put it past Deontay Wilder to put another soft touch up right up to bat. Because let's just go through it real quick because I mentioned to you guys, Ibn, that this could possibly be a banana peel for Deontay Wilder, and we were talking about the case where, we were talking about the case of why Deontay Wilder doesn't get much love, and how this is another case where even if he does win, he might not look good. And sure enough, he lost the first 5 rounds, or 4 rounds at least, because it ended in the 5th.
It ended in the 5th.
And which, I mean, the end of the 5th round is probably gone around. It's probably the most famous boxing gif of the past, 2 weeks, is the ending of how, the ref stopping Deontay Wilder while he's trying to generate power for Norway. Some small town, the way that guy was just going for it. I mean, that just sums it up. That just sums up the frustration with Deontay Wilder.
I gotta say this. It's not being overly critical of Deontay Wilder to say that what we're seeing a lot of is that he goes into a fight with a puncher's chance. That's what he got. That he has devastating power. He's, Ernie Shavers type power. Yeah, cool. But he was being outboxed. And he was being outboxed by a sub that took the fight on short notice. So how you supposed to walk away from that fight feeling? On one hand, I'll say Wilder was smart enough not to mix it up with this guy because the jab was there and it was pushing him back. So he wasn't stupid. He wasn't going to go for it. He was composed. I give him that. That's an improvement from what we saw in the Spilker fight. Because in the Spilker fight, he was visibly frustrated. He was swinging for the fences and tripping over his own feet and hitting air. And that was all before the knockout. But how many times are we going to forgive these kind of performances and take it on faith that Wilder actually is an elite fighter?
He knocked that man out in 5 rounds. What are you talking about?
It's the heavyweight division, man.
All right,
Everybody has 200 plus pounds of pressure.
Bro, you just said to prove that he is an elite fighter, like you didn't just stop him.
A lot of guys could get stopped in the heavyweight division, man. Like, how does him pulling a knockout out of his ass make him an elite fighter? He was effectively being outboxed by a stand-in.
And then he knocked him out, right?
Well, we're not debating the outcome of the fight. We're talking about the performance. So we're not debating. We ain't debating. Who won the fight.
So listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what you're saying. You're saying prove that you're an elite fighter. You knocked the guy out in 5 rounds, and you got to prove. What else? What do you have to do?
Look good.
How about not being? Are you not allowed to? How about not being? Do styles not make fights? Do styles not make fights? And are you not allowed to lose the round?
Make fights, but isn't he the guy that was befuddled by a jab? Isn't he the guy that was befuddled by a jab?
Okay.
Is that my imagination?
Okay, and Wilder knocked him out in 5 rounds.
We're not debating whether or not he knocked him out. We're debating what he looked like in the fight.
Okay.
What did he look like in the fight?
Regardless of how you feel, what do Marcos Maidana look like in fight? It's all different styles of boxing, man.
See, but the thing with that, Ibn, and my point is, while it's really stressful dealing with Deontay Wilder, is because in a way, I was growing to be a fan of his after the Stavern fight, because it showed versatility and some type of dimension to his game. You know, that he could box and maybe be a bit more than just a power puncher, and be more than just some athlete, really good athlete in another sport turned professional boxer and just, trying it for kicks type shit. You know what I mean? And he was on the way at that point. But for me, it seems like he's just he hasn't gotten better since this. And
on the backslide.
He's
on the backslide.
He's been.
Call it what it is. Call it what it is. He's on the backslide.
Whatever, however.
Wobbled him. Okay. Let me ask a question. Why do we always have to dress up? Why do we always have to dress up everything when it comes to Deontay Wilder?
What did I
Joshua fights a common opponent that Deontay. He's fought two common opponents that Wilder's had. I believe he's had better showings with both of them. Not just Molina, but I believe he's had better showings with both of them. If we
Wilder
make that
knocked both of them out.
Anthony Joshua knocked Molina out in less time than Wilder.
Okay,
less effort.
So y'all arguing over people that he stopped, and y'all trying to make it like, what's the case? What case are you building?
The case is
everybody except Thurman.
The case.
At the end of the day, he's had his belt longer than all of those guys have had their belt. If he needs to prove himself against anybody, it needs to be the other title holders. They need to be unified.
Well,
there is no hurdle. There is no prove that you're an elite. There is no nothing. He was champion before all of them. It's not like Tyson Fury didn't blow it. If Tyson Fury didn't blow it, Tyson Fury would be the only one with any type of seniority over the man. Other than that, none of them do. They need to be fighting him. Nothing y'all say don't change that, because he's had the belt longer and he's here and he's still stopping people.
Yeah, but what doesn't change also is the fact that he hasn't looked impressive since gaining this title.
Exactly.
He's looked he seems look bad. And it's not if I were in the
Let me ask you a question. So you're telling me that you're impressed? You walked away from the Gerald Washington fight impressed?
What I'm telling you is I've already accepted Deontay Wilder for who he is, and I've never said nothing other than that. I know what he is. He's not even really no boxer. He's a fighter. And at the end of the day, his flaws that he do have mechanically in terms of boxing mechanics, they're hard to overcome because you can't really train for it.
And it can also get him knocked the fuck out. It can also get him knocked the fuck out down the line against a better skilled opponent.
Knocked out, and it's not got him knocked out or even beaten.
Okay,
actually, he's knocked everybody out.
Yeah, but are we going to pretend that 34 of those fights were anybody?
You're saying that confidently, but who has Wilder fought that really could have knocked him out?
That's what I'm saying.
So this is my point. So these AJs and these Parkers, these guys, they need to fight.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, well, look, one guy.
Don't stop telling me about prove this. Don't tell me about what he needs to prove. He don't need to prove nothing. They need to be getting it on.
Well, listen, all right. But the point is,
let's keep nobody here. Nobody here is saying that Wilder needs to earn a unification fight. I think everybody here wants unification fight. Everybody here wants Joshua to fight this guy. Everybody wants Parker to fight this guy. Everybody wants that shit.
So that's what needs to happen.
Everybody here wanted Wilder to fight Tyson Fury. Everybody wants unification.
See, so what?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about how he looks as a fighter compared to other guys that are out there. And it seems that whenever we say an objective critique about how Wilder looks out there, motherfuckers getting their feelings about it. Well, what you want me to say, that he looked good out there? What you want me to say?
I don't have a problem with any of your perceptions of him, or any of you guys see it. Like I said, my perspective is that I've accepted Wilder for who he is. He is a fighter. He throws jabs. He throws 1-2s. He got a little check hook that he's trying to add to his game, a little left hook or whatever. He boxes his way. When he hits you and he feels as though he got you hurt, he goes for the gusto. I already know what Deontay Wilder is. I don't expect anything else. I don't expect him to end his career with an O or nothing.
All right.
What I want to see though is the other guys that are supposed to be so good take his belt. That's what I want to see, because everybody keeps telling me about what he's not and this and that. I could care less what you think when they're not fighting them. They need to fight the guy.
See, but you're looking
Let me ask you a question. This is the same sport. It's the same sport. And plenty of people have heard this shit. Wante highlighted it. He highlighted it the best out of anybody I heard. He said, what kind of caliber fighter is David Lemieux when he can't even parry a jab? He said that shit. And that's poignant. There's a lot of ways that you could interpret that shit. You know, maybe Golovkin's jab was that good. Maybe he timed it real good to keep Lemieux off his rhythm. There's a lot of ways you could take that shit. But at the end of the day, it's a valid question. That how good of a fighter is David Lemieux if this guy can't even parry a jab? What kind of champion can't parry a jab? You remember that video?
Oh, yeah.
When we see Wilder out here in a similar predicament, he won the fight. We know that. But we see that he was in a similar predicament when it came to the left hand. It was pushing him back. He didn't really know what to do. He couldn't really counter the shit. What are you supposed to say? How are you supposed to look at that shit?
Well, all right. You know what? All right. Wait. Hold on.
How did he knock him out? If the jab had him so befuddled, how did he knock the man out in 5 rounds?
All right. So listen. All right. So I'll put it this way, because you're going for the overview, Ibn. Let me just get your take on the performance overall, because that's really all we can state at this point. We can talk about how he could possibly, the hypotheticals of what can go on against this type of fighter and whoever. At this moment, how did he look? How did he look in this fight?
I just answered it twice.
Ibn, you trying to gloss over that shit.
I am not glossing over anything. It is what I expect of Wilder. I expect Wilder. I just explained myself.
He's trying to fill the other argument.
What else do y'all want me to say? What else do y'all want me to say? When have I ever seen a masterful boxing performance from Deontay Wilder?
Once. Listen, and that's the funny thing. I'll give him.
Let me ask you a question, Ibn. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
When you see these holes in his technique, right? Say you're not a Wilder fan, but you're not a Wilder hater either. You know, you're not gonna just be shitting on him to be shitting on him, right? But you're watching him, and you're watching these other guys that are out there, and you're trying to say, well, all right, well, you know, which one of these guys is like really an elite fighter? Like, which performances are good, which performances are bad? How are you supposed to feel looking at Wilder in these situations, looking the way that he's looking? If you said that, well, I can't say that Wilder's one of the best guys that's out there because of blah, 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 well, you wouldn't be lying. You really wouldn't.
Wilder has always. Was it ever different?
No, but that's the point.
It's not about.
That's the point.
So why has not nobody? So this is what I'm saying. So he had his belt longer than all of them. They only got their belts because somebody
that's not a let off. That's not a let off.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. With that being said, every time when the so-called test come up, Stavern came up, he beat him. After that, you had the whole perfecting file and all this bullshit. He's failing test. Another dude fails the test. He gets a replacement. Now what? Now it's time for them to fight him.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you're not even looking good in the replacements. Like the replacement, you look bad.
How he looked, he has knocked out everybody except Stavern.
We're not debating his KO percentage.
And he beat him. Hold on.
We all know that's what he got. We all know
when he got took the distance.
You telling me that because he has a puncher's chance in every situation that we supposed to ignore everything else?
He does not only have a puncher's chance. He has a jab. He has a good straight right hand. He does not only have
jab, dog. Where was the matter of fact? Where was the jab in the Molina fight? Fuck Washington.
He knocked him out too. That's what he do. He's a fighter. Get it through your thick skull. Get it through your thick skull.
We talking about the performances, and you talking about the result, and we talking about the performance. We talking about the performances. When motherfuckers look at Jamel Charlo and see that he pulled that knockout out of his ass to Julian Jackson, you know what they could do? What they could do is, Jamal ain't the best in show. He's not the best in show. It's a lot of other guys that's looking good out here. That's the same for Deontay Wilder. Nobody want to admit that Deontay Wilder might just be the weakest guy holding a belt in the heavyweight division.
So why ain't nobody fighting him? So why he not taking his belt? Take his belt. If he weak, take his belt, bro. All this other stuff you saying
excuses for what? Nobody is.
Every fighter
that Deontay Wilder goes up.
Every fighter.
Nobody's proposing that there's no unification fight. You saying that shit like motherfuckers is being overprotective of fighters. You saying that shit like motherfuckers is saying that like, oh, why should Joshua fight him? Nah, I want Joshua to fight him. I want there to be one undisputed champion.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So at the end of the day,
nobody here is in opposition of unification fight.
So at the end
Nobody
of the day,
here is saying, well, why should those guys fight Wilder? I want those guys to fight Wilder.
Okay, so at the end of the day, ain't nothing changed. Wilder's still knocking people out like he's been doing, and it's time for him to fight him.
Who's he knocking out, dog? Who's he knocking out?
It's whoever he can fight until they fight him.
And not looking good in the process.
Deontay Wilder, as much as I like, seems to me that Deontay Wilder is supposed to go devoid of criticism no matter how bad he looks. That's what it feels like.
Bro,
he can look absolutely terrible,
bro,
and nobody's supposed to say nothing.
I don't care what y'all say. He knocked him out in 5 rounds.
All right, so wait, hold on.
So you say those, they ain't gonna change shit.
Guys, wait a minute.
Don't change shit.
Wait a minute.
Everybody y'all complaining about he knocked out. What are y'all
all right,
talking
sorry.
about?
So in this situation, then.
Everybody is not fucking Riddick Bowe. That's not what make Wilder a threat. What make him a threat is if he catch you with one of them tools off of that jab and you look hurt, he gonna bomb on you, and I want to see if you can survive. That's who he is. That's what he is.
Then you know what? If that's the case, I don't want to hear anyone ever say that there was some type of exposure in the Kell Brook versus Golovkin fight.
Exactly.
What do you mean by that?
Exactly.
What does
in
that
the
have
same
to do with
fucking
this?
breath, too. In the same fucking breath. In the same fucking breath, motherfuckers will sit there and berate Triple G based on a supposed interpretation. Because he ain't exposed shit. All right? He got staggered in the first round, and he got his fucking eye broke. That's what happened. We know that. Motherfuckers will sound off about that. Deontay Wilder goes out there.
Motherfuckers?
Looks like
Who's
shit.
motherfuckers? You ain't talking to me.
Shit. Nobody's supposed to say nothing.
You ain't talking to me.
Who he is.
Who is motherfuckers?
No, we're just saying. Look. If you ain't saying it, then Ibn, it's just in general, because we're just talking to a general.
No. Don't talk about we and spin off on Wilder and then say we. That's a spin off bullshit because me and you talking. You can't say nothing to me because I've always said that Golovkin is the best person at 150. I've always said if nobody at 154 in the fight, and I want him to move up. I've been consistent. So don't talk to me about we with Dave. I'm not Dave. I'm me.
All right.
Yeah, we debating, right? We face to face.
All right. So speaking, all right. We kind of went on this kind of like a little bit long, but I knew that was going to happen. But anyway, Thurman Garcia is this weekend, y'all. Y'all hype?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready for Keith Thurman to be the unified 147-pound champion. That's what I'm ready for.
Ibn, you picked Keith too, right?
I got to, and I hate to. I hope that Keith Thurman stands in front of Danny can say the no look left hook. But I know that Keith Thurman is a smart fighter, and I know that he knows that Danny sometimes has a hard time with the bike, and I'm rooting for Danny, man, but I can't go bet my money on him.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's a safe bet. So I guess that's three for Thurman. I think that he just has the better movement, obviously.
And that's going to be a factor. Danny
but here's the thing that would make a difference in that prediction is that the fact that if I trusted Danny Garcia to cut off the ring, which I've yet to necessarily see.
And the other thing is Danny going to be in a position to cut off the ring? Keith Thurman's the bigger punch out of them two guys. Who's to say that Danny's going to be the one that goes on the attack? For all I know, Keith Thurman might be the one that goes on the attack. That's one of them fights where you really just got to watch that shit. I asked Thurman to win, but it could go a lot of ways.
That's Danny's chance right there is that Keith go at him like that. Because the thing about it that I know is that Danny's a little bit better boxer than people would understand, because what happens is when you're moving is rough, but when you stop moving, then he becomes a good boxer with you.
Yeah.
In a way similar to Canelo Alvarez, if I'm making any sense to you. So if Keith comes at him, he has a nice little chance at that point. Now I'm okay, Danny, let's see what we can do. But when he has to follow, I can't see him having to follow and beating Keith Thurman.
See,
and
that's the instance.
Saving grace. No, go ahead.
I would say that would be the instance, though, is where because we were talking about, or at least Julius, you just brought up how Thurman is the natural bigger puncher between the two. But the thing with that, and the running punchline with Thurman, the past few fights has been sometime Thurman. And I think the reason for that is because he's been on his bike so much. He hasn't been the one that really necessarily been pressing the action so much. And I think that does make a difference. So with that being said, that's why I would necessarily give him the unanimous decision rather than a knockout in this fight. But if there ever is the moment where he can and wants to, or is given the opportunity to go forward, first of all, Danny just better make sure those moments just don't happen. But he also would have to, at least, even if that does, he has to, he has to have a backup plan for certain. And I just see, how like just watching media day, you just know exactly the cookie cutter form for how this fight's gonna go.
Yeah.
Danny pressure, Thurman box, like that. It's just written all over this shit. So, but the thing is, what makes the moments, what really makes the difference with fights like these is who has the backup plan when they aren't in their role. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. We know Thurman can handle pressure. We know Thurman can work on the fly, fight on the back foot. If it comes down to getting into an exchange, I'd wager that Thurman would still get the better of those exchanges because he was able to handle Sean Porter's pressure. And he hit him with bombs, and Sean kept coming. And Thurman kept landing good, clean shots. Danny's saving grace is that when he does let his hands go, the punches tend to find their mark. But I don't see him discouraging Keith Thurman. And I can see Keith Thurman getting the better of those exchanges because Danny ain't fought no punches at 147. I don't know what he's going to look like once Thurman start landing. To me, it's going to be a spectacle. It's like this is a big fight, dog. If this shit don't do crazy numbers, it's still a big fight to me.
Yeah.
Because I've been waiting for this shit.
Yeah.
I think Al Heyman's been waiting for this for a minute.
Yeah, it's welterweight unification, so it's big anyway.
Yeah.
People been waiting. I'm going to tell you something. Danny Garcia's a good fighter. He get a lot of heat. Spotlight on Danny Garcia for a second. Slow down the music. Danny Garcia is a very good fighter. I actually like him as a human being. But he's being put in a situation right now where it's fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman is a tough out for anybody at 147. I can't see Danny winning this fight. I don't see any way for him to win this fight.
See, and
stylistically,
and this is where the opposition kind of kicks you in the ass again. This is why the heat that he got, similar to Wilder, is the soft touches. And then all of a sudden a big fight is
you
because
can't even compare Danny to Wilder.
I'm not. Listen, let me just say make the point because it's big. It's bigger than what the people I mentioned is the fact that when you go from battling it out with not so great opponents and just a huge leap in opposition. That can possibly make the difference, where at least Thurman has come off some rather competitive fights. So in a way, he knows how to already dig down in that trench. He knows what he has in reserve, and that can pay.
When Danny Garcia was at 140 pounds, right? He fought 10 fights in a row, and he fought 9 current or former world champions, right?
I'm not.
So listen.
Well, see, this is the thing. We're not taking that from him. Danny a good fighter. He fought some real motherfuckers. We know that.
What I'm saying, he just now. Just let me make my point real fast though, because I wasn't doing that joint to do a brag. What I'm saying was, when that was over, he began to acclimate himself to 147. Now he got heat in the acclimation process because the Peterson fight was suspect, and the Herrera fight. Even I, as a Danny fan, was like, well, man, I thought Mauricio had won. So at the end of the day, he gets a lot of heat for that on top of that Salka, because that Salka joint was a cold cherry pick. Now, after I just gave you that's what he did wrong. Other than that, though, he just got done acclimating. So what's happening is he acclimated. He fought a 42 before that 43, and now he's ready for 47. When he gets to 47 and all that, now he's ready to fight Keith Thurman.
It seems that way. It seems that way.
Well, that's what's happening.
From Samuel Vargas. He going from Samuel Vargas to Keith Thurman. That's a big gap in as far
that was just a tune-up. Listen,
skills.
we got same day weigh-ins in Pennsylvania because of our boxing commission. He can't get nobody to fight here. He wanted to fight here, so he took his tune-up here. So he was going to fight somebody that wasn't all like that anyway, because nobody that's real good ain't trying to do that. You know that. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'm not even making an excuse for it. I'm just explaining, because that's what happened, because he wanted to fight here, and they fought right on bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If you ever noticed...
You know, I always did wonder why Philly don't ever get no damn fights, man. Considering the town, I used to always think of that shit.
Philly is for you, as big as a fight town as this is, we can't get shit here because of that.
I mean,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right.
I ain't lying though. I'm not even lying.
So I mean,
Philly is a fighting city.
For real.
You'd have thought they got
Absolutely.
more fights over there.
Listen, man. That's why I told you. I think I said this last podcast. I truly think that this tri-state area is probably the most boxing rich in talent pool in the United States. Like I mean, there's atypical fighters that you're going to get in other regions, but I just think you get the overall best, well-rounded quality of fighter. Because first of all, you get your slicksters in Philly, but you also know you ain't getting out of you're not making it to fucking Golden Gloves without knowing how to scrap at the same time.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying it's just so well-rounded and rich and just talent. I mean, shit. Stevenson was the closest guy we had to next coming from gold. He from Newark. He knows what that's like. He came from some gym wars, you know, so he knows. So I guess just to close things out, guys, I get to make it official. I got Thurman by unanimous decision. What do you guys got?
Thurman majority decision.
Man, I think Danny gonna make it to the end. I'm hoping he make it to the end. I think he can make it to the end. And Thurman, I'm gonna say split decision, Thurman, but I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
And you see, I mean, you still kept it true to the heart, but you kept it real at the same time. I admire that, man. All right, so I was rather, contentious podcast, but, we all came to the same decision. Rather, united front.
The last time we all agreed on the pick, we were all wrong.
We were all fucking wrong. So, I mean, this might be...
I hope it happens again. I hope it happens again.
That's real I really do. When it came to that Carl Frampton, we was all wrong, though.
I want you, listen, because I want Dan to beat Keith Thurman, but I can't sleep because I ain't gonna lie. I think Keith Thurman is actually the best one out of all the rotaries.
I mean, yeah, that's what
even though I think he don't want to fight EJ, right? I think that, like, if EJ don't knock him out, he ain't outboxing Thurman. I don't think that.
Nah.
See what I'm saying?
That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, but it's like the body shot. Like, it's the body attack. The EJ that make me be like, yo, you might not.
In some way, EJ remind me of Sergey Kovalev, and it's not that he's so skillful. It's the marriage between his power and his skill.
Yeah, he got enough skills.
And yes.
Because, like, he'll hit you with 2 bombs, but he'll still be there for you to hit him back. But, like, when you hit him back, he's like abominable snowman. Then he just hit you again, like, boom, bang, and then you die.
Yeah.
Like, that's how he is. Like
yeah.
For real, like, that's how he is. Like,
he called
if somebody
hit abominable snowman.
I'm trying to tell you, that's how he be. He just eat it. Like, look, I'm telling you, he'll hit you with a 3-piece, right? Boop, that. You'll hit him back. Boom. Here, eat that joint and just hit you 2 more times. You'll go down. Like, he be doing stuff like that. Yo, he's strong.
That's what I mean. Like that's why I always thought the more interesting fight was between him and Kell Brook, is because in a way what both of them kind of benefit off of is just being that bigger, stronger guy in the ring. So that's why, and I think in a way
Kell Brooks had success. Kell Brooks had success with that shit thus far, but at the end of the day, how many guys like Errol Spence has Kell Brook fought?
And how many guys like Kell Brook, or how many guys has Errol Spence fought like Kell Brook?
Errol Spence is so great. I'm just saying that as a physical specimen.
Vice versa, though.
And a lefty.
Vice versa.
You know what I mean? Like,
come straight up his gut. You can't come straight up his gut. And your 1-2 is a little bit off because you're fighting a lefty. you need the outside foot. But even when you get the outside foot, more than likely, you want to lead with a right hand. You go to play the jab, he going to tap that. He's used to fighting conventional fights. He going to tap that jab. Disrupt time. You know what I'm saying? But I can't wait till that one gets here so we can talk about that. But at the end of the day,
it's officially getting close.
But Thurman, I was just saying that I think Thurman is really the best one, though. I ain't gonna lie. I do.
Yeah, I mean, he can fight on the front foot. He can fight on the front foot. He can fight on the back foot.
If you pressure him, you can't really not. I don't know if he's not getting full. The short border was on his ass, and he was hitting with some shit sometimes. But he was still boxing through that shit.
And that's the funny thing about
but he did it.
The funniest thing about that fight is that there was more pressure than actual technique or skilled pressure on it. So you'll never get any more pressure than you will from an opponent than in that fight. Is because no one's gonna be. I mean, they're gonna pressure you, but they ain't gonna pressure you so much that they're just blocking with their face. You know what I mean?
Sean Porter was in that motherfucking fight, man. He was in that fight. He was balls through.
That's how he. But see, the thing about Sean is that's how Sean do. If it's a high level, that's how he do.
Yeah.
If he don't gotta do it, then he'll try to box. But if he get pushed to it, he gonna start fighting you because that's what he gotta do. He know that he wasn't gonna outbox Thurman like on that gym from the outside and all that. That wasn't going down.
All right.
He had to make that thing run.
Basically. But all right, let's wrap things up. Cheap plug.
Okay, let's say Ugonoh.
He'll be okay, man. He wasn't unconscious. He was alright. I mean, he has a serious setback. I mean, I'm sure that he's can evaluate his performance. And, I mean, it's funny because, like I said, he was a better fighter among those first 4 rounds, and still, couldn't do it. But anyway, shameless plugs. Fire Box Talk, obviously, you're listening. Please subscribe. And tell all your friends to subscribe too, even if they don't like boxing. Just so I can get them known. And definitely. Bo, we get a shout out to Bo. Facts. Truth and Facts Boxing. Ibn was featured on there with his son. It's a nice little interview you guys should check out there.
Little Future and Mark was on there too.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, man.
Saw that. Ring IQ, Instagram is kind of had a nice little launch, just everybody out there. So, hopefully you got some thick skin out there. Don't take it personal if it's your favorite fighter. Because
everybody can get it on that joint, right?
Yeah. So if you guys want to plug anything else before we get up out of here.
Ring IQ Boxing Talk on YouTube. Ring IQ Boxing Talk on Facebook. Ring IQ Boxing Talk on Twitter. Ring IQ Boxing Talk on Instagram. Holla at me.
Ibn.
And you already know, man. 22bay_boxing on Instagram. And check me out at Ring IQ, man. Ibn man. You already know.
Yeah, and we're all
check us out.
We're all still waiting on that full video of Celine. I ain't forget about that shit.
Hey man, listen man, it's a lot of coaches in there. We got 17,000. I ain't gonna lie to you. My son's gonna be going on the road. I am not too fond of too much footage.
All right. Then just send me the footage. I mean, shit, I want to see the fight.
I got you. I got you.
All good. But all right, so that's gonna be about it for us. So until next week, talk to you on the. Basically the review of this Saturday's fights and get our thoughts about it. So other than that, peace.